managed okay during the storm. Everybody all right? Everybody good? Doing okay? We're all sitting here. We must be, right? That's good. And for those that aren't, I'm sorry, and I certainly hope for a speedy return to norm. As I know some people's houses, especially in the surrounding areas, were affected. You're in my thoughts. It is Redemption Thursday. We have football tonight, Tom. Tonight, we get to sit down and watch some legit games, some things that will help you make decisions moving forward. This is one of those fun nights where right off the bat, obviously the biggest game is Florida and Utah. But you do get a chance to kind of have some fun with Nebraska and Minnesota, and you'll get a chance to see NC State. You get a chance to see UCF. And I don't know. I like tonight's slate a little bit more, probably, again, because it's the first of the year. And I find myself eager to tune into these games. Now I'll have to do so racing over right after my son's football game tonight, as he has a high school game that was originally canceled, but not canceled.
Oh, yeah. So little reedy-ree?
Yeah, so we're going to play that game. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Let's see. Looking at tonight's slate, I would agree with you. I think this is maybe where you were going. Kind of sneaky stronger in some ways than Saturday. Saturday's a little weak. There's a couple of good games, but it's not like the first Saturday of college football season is replete with a ton of headliners.
That is correct. That is correct. I mean, yeah, if you want to get into some of that, you have to find like traditional matchups that kind of serve as pseudo rivalries in a weird way, kind of like a Penn State, West Virginia. I'm intrigued by Clemson and Duke because of what Duke was last year, and we're going to want to watch what Clemson is. Yeah, their reaches, right? They're games like that. What's Louisville and Georgia Tech, two ACC foes facing each other? Let's see what they are. What is Georgia Tech in the second year with Key? We know what Braum is. How's he do with Louisville? What's that offense look like? Games like that. There are potential upsets. Fresno State could upset Purdue. Games, but you're really looking at it more from a gambling angle.
Wait a minute. Fresno State has a chance to upset Purdue?
Yeah. Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yeah, they do.
Go into the notepad, write it down.
Duly noted. Yeah, they do. I guess what you're going to wonder, we do have W's and L's today.
Man, it's packed.
It is packed. And I have my Redemption Thursday picks, the first of the year. I will tell you, given how difficult it is in week one, because, again, we think we know, but we really don't know. This is about gathering information. You've done your research. You recognize players that have left programs and gone on to the pros or used up their eligibility. But the transfer portal always adds another element to the preparation process here where you're like, oh, now, wait a minute. Wait. He's playing where? Oh, that's his third team. I didn't realize he was there. Oh, they did replenish their defensive line. They got so-and-so and so-and-so. Okay, gotcha. So it adds a layer of preparation. Week one bets are tough. You can take advantage of Vegas in week one, but you can also be taken advantage of in week one. If you overvalue some of the things that you believe to be true about a program and their direction without having seen a game based on some of what you saw last year, yeah, turnover is one way to judge it. Returning talent's another way to judge it. Coaches are another way to judge it. Where it's being played, weather, a lot of factors. But week one is still, I always think, the toughest. You can hit a home run and make a lot of money in week one. You can think that Vegas is undervaluing any number of teams and jump on those teams, or you can play some hunches. Like if you think there's noise in the system at Clemson and that they're continuing to slide and that this will be a convoluted mess of a game, then you like Elko's defense and you say, okay, I'll take that. I'll take the 12.5. I like Duke to hang in there, but normally you wouldn't bet that game.
I think by definition, Vegas is telling you there has to be noise in the Clemson system if the number is 12.5.
There's just distrust, I think, right now.
Yeah, and I understand that is with an understanding that Duke has gotten a lot better and that Mike Elko is taking it to a decent place. 12.5 is still light, even with those considerations to me. Something's up.
Who would you bet on? I didn't bet it.
Clemson, without hesitation at 12.5.
Yeah, I'm not betting the game, but if in a pool, I'm taking Clemson. That's correct.
A lot of people seem to really love Duke's quarterback, and I don't know, man. Really? I like the defense more than I like their quarterback if I'm going to pick Duke, which I'm not.
Yeah, I didn't touch the game. There are a lot of things about both teams. I'm like, we'll see. Well, how's Matt Rule doing his first game at Nebraska? How much better are they against Minnesota? Really good game tonight. That's a game I do want to watch to see what they are there. They're getting 7. You would think if they're buttoned up, I think down the line you're gonna see some opportunities with them. All right, let's do this though. I do have the games. I did make a pick. I did go through all of it, and I'm having fun with it. I'm looking forward to doing it again this year, and we'll see if we can't get off to a better start. I got off to a staggered poor start last year. And then the year before I was really good. I think it was the year before I was really good. And then last year I struggled.
I don't really recall the specifics of the sequence last year, but I know it was feast and famine in the first 2 weeks. I just don't know what order it came.
Was really weird. I remember I had like a 2 and 8 week and a 9 and 1 week. And I was like, well, what do we do? We're just all over the damn map here. So it was frustrating. But I've sent off my picks. We don't get too wrapped up in week 1. You good to go over there? I just saw the thumbs up. I didn't know. We're going to post them up. You ready for me to rapid fire this thing? It won't be rapid fire. Hello, Metro Deli. I just wanted you to get your love. I want to be sure we did the right thing.
I don't see why we wouldn't give them love.
I don't see why not. There they are. For those of you watching at home, let's recall how this works. It's for charity. You keep your record against me and back and forth, and we go on, and we do the right thing and donate our winnings and our losses and all that good stuff to charity. Right off the bat, I took the Canes. How about that? There you go, Tom. I'll lay the 6.5 against
First
Miami.
pick of the year. That's gross. Sir, put it 5th in the list.
I didn't jot it down in any particular order. It was as I...
Leading off for Jeff Cameron's Redemption Thursday picks, Miami.
I took the Canes minus 16.5 against Miami of Ohio.
Shortstop.
I like them to cover. I'm a little worried about health. I'll lay the 16.5. Here you go, Tom. Time to hit the siren. I got Hawaii +3 against Stanford. I'm going to continue to ride the rainbows, baby. They came through for me in week 1. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go, Hawaii. Big step forward in year 2 for Coach Chang. I think they're going to continue to get better and better. I like Hawaii.
Little Timmy Chang action.
I like Timmy Chang, and I like the +3. I like Stanford to get beat. I took them on the money line in my side pool.
In high school, one of my nicknames was Timmy Chang.
Oh, yeah?
Because I went by Tommy Lang. I was Tommy. So it was like Timmy Chang because he was good at the time.
TCU minus 20.5 against Colorado, and so it begins for Deion Sanders.
I can feel it all the way down in my plums.
I laid the 20.5 there. TCU lost a ton of personnel. If they actually cover this number big, it's a ugly omen for Colorado the rest of the way. I mean, TCU lost a ton, and yet here I am. I'm still perplexed and frustrated about what's happened with this Utah-Florida game. Have you seen how much this has moved back and forth with all the problems?
I just know about
not playing.
No, I've not seen the movement on the line. I know it was 6.5 or thereabouts at one point.
It had gotten all the way up to 7, at which point I think I had to take Florida, and then it came down to 4. And I'm probably leaning towards Utah at that point.
Setting up some goalposts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great game. I think it's going to be a very good football game.
Little night 1 goalpost double bet action. Let's see if we can land this.
Let's go. I know. I've wrestled with it, but I didn't put it on our Redemption Thursday.
34-28 Utah. Jeff Cameron double wins.
I'd like that, buddy. I would like that a lot. I took FSU on the money line against LSU. Just straight up money line. Let's go, Noles. Let's go, Noles. Tom, we're going to be able to talk in-depthly about Florida State LSU. I know you just did a Third and Lang piece. Opportunity to dive into Jaden Daniels' numbers, the good, the bad, the ugly. There's plenty of all of that.
It's a piece.
It's all over the map there with Jaden Daniels, as we know. Colorado State +11 against Washington State. I think I'm going to fade Washington State all year long. Really, if you're any of these programs that remain.
I can feel it all the way down in my plums.
If you're any of these programs lacking stability and or money and find yourself in the depths of hell to the point where your athletic director says to the public, we're in a bad place. Well, I'm going to bet against you guys. I'm going to bet against you when you are publicly declaring that you're poor and nowhere to go. Not good. Can't be good for morale, Tom. Can't be good for morale. Give me Colorado State, a little bit more stability, +11. I don't have to win. I got 11 points here. Yeah, I'll do that.
If I knew that they were honoring former head coach Steve Adazio before the game, I would be with you. 100%.
All the way. You'd go money line then.
Oh, yeah.
Coastal Carolina will score a ton of points. Their coach moved on to Liberty. Everybody thinks they're going to struggle. They'll score, and score some more. They'll give up a lot of points too, but I'm going to win this game because of the hook, 14.5. I'll take plus 14.5.
No siren because UCLA is the opponent. I think this is a straight-up play. No siren necessary. Good job.
I like that. Here you go, Tom. San Jose State plus 16.5 against Oregon State.
I can feel it all the way down in my plums.
I love that we have added it. Look at this. We've got a Russ Cole. Yes. I know who I am.
I know who I am.
That is the perfect video for the pick I just made.
How about some Lone Star?
That's so good. On Thursdays, I drink, and you don't get to interrupt that. Thursdays are my day off. I start drinking around noon.
I know
and
who
you don't
I
get
am.
you don't get to interrupt that. One of the great, I'm paraphrasing that line, but it's something like that. It's one of the great lines ever. And on Thursdays, I drink. I start about noon. You don't get to interrupt that.
The cadence of that sounds so much like our drink special guy from Baton Rouge.
Oh, that's my guy.
Perfect week.
Mm-hmm. I laid the points with Texas. They're going to be eager to make a statement out the gates. I'll drop the 35. Poor Rice. I got North Texas.
All I know is Rice.
Thank you. I've got North Texas plus 6.5 versus Cal. I think they can win the game outright.
I can feel it all the way down in my plums.
Oh man, I figured you'd like that one. I skipped it for half a second just because.
I was alert.
Yeah.
He skipped North Texas.
I took North Texas plus 6.5 against Cal. Once again, Cal falls in that category of doesn't have a home, not a lot of money, signaling for help on top of the roof at Cal. A little help over here.
Homeless in Berkeley.
Doesn't do well. Not going to be good. And then finally, I took Washington and laid the 14 against Boise State. Didn't love it, but I will lay the 14 against Boise State there. I'm betting against Boise State's quarterback, who I don't like. So give me Washington minus 14. It's not him.
Where are the other 10? I was promised 20.
There aren't 20. There aren't enough games, and I had to work to find the last few. I had to look to find the last few, but there we are. And Tom and Jeff, can you kindly tell me what all of these Matthew McConaughey and Christian Bale / Kermit GIFs mean, please? Well, the Christian Bale Kermit GIF is just the two of them staring at each other, nodding their head, as you would if you were a bit perplexed by something, or
by, perhaps picking San Jose State out of nowhere and being informed on a San Jose State pick.
It represents the pick, in this case, just nodding. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. And then McConaughey speaks for itself.
I know who I am.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a degenerate. So if I'm picking some of these games, that's perfect. I know who I am. The other one is him staring at the betting card, looking at the line, taking a hard drag.
A heater.
Yeah.
That's a true heater.
Well, that's also one of my very favorite ever. I mean, you use that over and over and over again. That's one of my favorite moments, just staring at that card, or staring at my card. That's people reacting to my card.
I think he didn't make it through the offseason. He'll be back though for hour number 2.
Oh, you got to have him around at all times. He's an all-timer. That could be for anything. That could just be like when somebody has something to say that's out, it's a little bit odd. You're like, oh, okay.
I think that's also my expression when I believe it was Florida went more than 90 yards multiple times in the fourth quarter against Tennessee. Yeah. It would be the 4th and 4 of the game after watching a quarter of the worst backdoor cover you've seen in your life as the ball's in the air.
Your reaction.
That's my expression.
Yeah. Really?
He's going to catch that.
Yeah, the staring really?
Oh,
really? There it is. It's not as good as the still, though. Yeah, you got to get the still. The still's the one where his eyes get big. Yeah, it's all time good. I did have to take. By the way, it was kind of cool. And this one pool that I'm in, you can do. You pick 3 underdogs that you think will win outright. For me, it was Hawaii and Fresno State, and then of course Florida State.
Yep, good call.
Yeah, man. I mean, money line all day on Florida State. I'm certain you did it as well, right?
Weeks ago. Yeah. I believe the time that I decided that this was a good pivot was when Mike Norvell went on the record and said that scrimmage 2, nobody was hurt. Okay. They're not having a third one.
After the second scrimmage, we kept waiting for update, and it was still one of my favorite moments. Just him saying, I thought it went well. No major injury. You can stop right there.
No major injuries.
You stop right there.
Because it's about Florida State. Really, I don't think this game on Sunday is about what LSU can do. It's about playing controlled and living up to the sum of their parts, being more than the sum of their parts. Man, if you just did an inventory on what these guys are individually, it's so much better than it was even last year. So much better for Florida State. So just go take care of business. Because if you do, you're a more complete football team than LSU is.
As we sit here this close to the season kicking off for Florida State and what we like and what we don't like about this team and this program and where we're at, there is so much more to like. And yet when I say that, I'm certainly aware that you could play well and they could play well and you could lose a close football game. LSU has a lot of parts that really play, that are very good. It's a very talented team. You have a quarterback that's hard to get on the ground. They're saying the same thing about ours. I like ours as a passer much more than theirs, obviously. There are aspects of this game. For example, if you're just sitting here talking about segment for segment, well, our linebackers don't compare to their linebackers. Their linebackers are worlds better than our linebackers. Most teams are. And that's frustrating to me. But that's just one aspect, right? And then I would turn around and say, well, I like this group over that group, whatever it might be. I mean, at this point, it's a pretty big loss for them not to have Mason Smith. I mean, there's a guy that you figured would play in this game. He projects down the line by most NFL scouts as a guy that gets drafted high. To not have him is a big deal for them.
And even if he was banged up, you still get, and he's coming back to full speed, 25 reps from that kid changes everything about the way you rotate the rest of your players, how fresh they are when you can spell the guys that are maybe, playing more. But if he takes up the middle portion of the game, then you give him a big-time breather. It strengthens everything about what you do. And when he is on the field for those snaps, maybe we pay more attention in the way we block it up. Yeah, even if he was limited, because I hear that from the LSU side a lot, is that he would have been limited anyway. Even if he was.
Well, if they'd gotten 15 to 17 good snaps out of him, he's a difference maker.
Jared Verse against Wake Forest last year. Different position, but still defensive line. He was on a pitch count. He played mostly in the second half. Did that change things? Yeah. Yeah, it did. Big time.
Yeah, and listen, there's no doubt Harold Perkins is a superstar. And we basically, grand total of 16 plays, I think, last year against Florida State. He went on to become a superstar. He was fun to watch last year. He's a really dynamic player. You have to account for him. It's funny. It was interesting listening to Brian Kelly talk about a game wrecker like Jared Verse. Well, conversely, Mike Norvell talked about that with Harold Perkins Jr. And both teams have studs at key spots, and how those that are forced to take the majority of the snaps against those players, those two players, how they play and how the coaches decide to combat those guys plays a huge role in this game. You had talked a lot about forcing or hoping that Harold Perkins ends up having to cover Jaheim Bell and neutralizing him in that way. Yeah, if he is playing more traditional linebacker and not rushing off the edge, yes, that's ideal.
We'll see how he is at pursuing the run. Say Florida State wants to establish Trey Benson as one of the top principles of the game. It's going to be a part of it, but if it's really like the priority is that they want to establish Trey and then they can set up the pass in even more advantageous situations than they're already going to, I want to see how Perkins pursues that from sideline to sideline. The way that we scheme up the running game, you have to be very smart as a linebacker to be in the right positions because we will throw eye candy at you. And just because he's a freak of an athlete near the line of scrimmage doesn't mean he's going to necessarily be able to diagnose those things as he drops back and he plays linebacker more in the middle of the field. Personally, to me, I'm glad they have him back there. If he was around the line of scrimmage, that causes more headaches.
Yeah, and I think they're going to use him in a
They'll move him around, but
way.
For this game, I would keep him there exclusively. I think he's more valuable there. But hey, look, I enjoy that they drop him back a little bit.
I think that one of the interesting things about Florida State, when we do the thing, because I can do this with a lot of teams on our schedule, like when we start talking about projecting to a college football playoff? Are you that good, or are you a step below that? Where are you? And we go through the roster. I can pick other rosters, obviously, that I think have a greater depth of talent in various spots. But there's no getting around Florida State, which has 10 to 12 players that project to the NFL. So that's a bevy of players that are projected to play pro football. But I would tell you, too, that they also have a lot of really good college football players. So you're not saying to FSU, hey, you got to go win the SEC. We're saying you got to go beat LSU. Yeah, which obviously you did a year ago, and we'll see if you can do it this year. But one game, one night on this day, do you have good enough players to do that? Well, they have a lot of really good college football players, and they have plenty that project to the league as well.
I think if you were to look at it this way, too, top line of the depth chart, talent on both sides of the football, they're right up there with everybody in the country. It's the replenishment. It's who's coming off of the sidelines.
Yeah.
But if you just did the starters, 11 on defense, 11 on offense, there might be a couple of teams that have more talent.
Yeah.
But, are you looking at that from the high school ranks, or are you adding in the transfer portal and achievement that they've had at the college football level? Because if you do that.
And are you assessing it as to how they project to the league?
Yeah.
That's another way of doing that.
I'm just saying right here, right now, college football, I'd
yeah.
be hard-pressed to find 3 teams that have more talent top to bottom on the top line of the depth chart.
Yeah, Alabama does for certain. Georgia does for certain.
Not a quarterback, though.
Maybe
That's
not
the
a
good
quarterback.
point.
Yeah, well,
for us.
Yeah. Certainly, we'll see what Georgia's quarterback is.
We may have the best edge rusher of all of them, too.
Might. I think he's certainly an elite player.
Yep.
But I would say that if you're talking about, are you just talking about high school ranks, blue chip recruits?
No. I think that's part of it, but you have to take we got too many transfers. If you did that, we wouldn't be top 50 on the list.
Right. It is about the transfer. Like Braden Fisk we think projects as an elite player this year. A healthy Fabian Lovett.
Right. And Jared Verse. None of these guys count for high school blue chip. They weren't.
Yeah.
But you tell me they're not good? You know what I mean? That's the hard part about assessing that. You can't apply blue chip ratio to this game, or else the FPI, would tell you that we have a 35% chance of winning.
The hard part is, what are they in the secondary? In this game, we'll see. I don't know. LSU does have good receivers. They don't have a great passing quarterback, but they do have a guy that does buy time. A lot of time.
They don't chuck it down the field very often either.
No. Last year, those windows were small, like you said. But in terms of depth of pass, fascinating. That's something to explore. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Go, call Seminole Glass. They'll get on the road and get it done fast. They handle any kind of broken glass, and you know who they are.
You do know who we are. Your local family-owned glass company, proudly serving the Big Bend for over 16 years. When you have auto glass damage, don't be steered by your insurance company. Let us help you with that. Better call Seminole.
Honey, I just got a text from Dave. He wants us to come over for a barbecue. What's our excuse for not going?
Oh, no need for an excuse anymore, because Dave got a new grill from Hearth and Patio.
Oh, thank goodness. Dave, we will be happy to join y'all this weekend, and congrats on the new grill from Hearth and Patio. My wife said she would bring potato salad.
Hearth and Patio invites you to elevate your grilling game this year with one of their amazing grills from Fire Magic, Royal Master, or Blaze Grills. Call them today, 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282, or visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth and Patio, making barbecues great in the Sunshine State.
Honey, Dave said no raisins in the potato salad this time.
Call them today, 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282, or visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
Attention radio listeners, this is a Foodies Takeout and Delivery new restaurant alert. Now available for takeout and delivery from foodiestakeout.com. The Hawthorne Bistro, Jerry's Love on a Plate, Coach's Pizza, Munchie's Pizza, Red Eye Coffee, Lofty Pursuits, OG Subs, Dave's Pizza Garage, Sakura Sushi, and many more. Find a complete list of locally owned restaurants offering takeout and delivery at foodiestakeout.com. That's foodiestakeout.com. Don't just shop local, order local.
If you've been considering getting a new hot tub or upgrading your existing hot tub, now's the absolute best time to do it. Hot Spring Spas has the jets on full blast, and the prices right now have never been hotter. You can find huge savings at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas, and we mean huge. For a limited time, you can get up to $5,000 off in instant discounts and rebates, plus 60 months no interest financing for qualified buyers. You heard that right, $5,000 in discounts. And that's not all. When you buy a hot spring spa from Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas, you'll get a free consultation to determine the best placement in your yard for installation, a free accessory of your choice, and install can be completed in just a matter of days. It's the most aggressive rebate program that's ever been available to buyers from Hot Spring Spas. So stop by Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas on Greer Road today to check out their 12,000 square foot showroom with over 50 hot tubs on site. If you're ready to relax, Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas is ready to show you how.
This is Dr. James Ryan Finn
and Dr. Shannon Lord.
We are the dynamic duo at Finn Chiropractic, where we seek to get to the cause of your problem.
Whether you have neck pain, back pain, headaches, or any joint stiffness,
we've developed a phenomenal health exam with some high-tech ways to get to the cause.
Our phenomenal health exam will give the answers you need.
Get in for the phenomenal health evaluation.
Visit our website at finnchiro.com, FENNCHIRO.com.
Because your chiropractor loves you,
there's nothing you can do about it.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Now, as he gets us set for the Jeff Cameron Show from the actual bar, I will be here in town doing the show. He will be in Orlando at the bar where we'll be doing other shows, making sure it works out.
I look forward to seeing. I see people in the chat saying they're going to swing by tomorrow. Yeah. There's the show audio is not going to be on the house audio. I'm going to be sitting there quietly verifying that
everything
some
works.
Of the gizmos work.
Correct.
Yes. So, but I look forward to hanging out and talking during the breaks and such. But just in case, make sure that you use the house Wi-Fi maybe to connect and watch the show. But
yeah.
It's not going to be pumped in through the house audio like it will be when we do the Saturday Seminole headlines and the Sunday postgame show.
Right. And speaking of which, the way that works is Seminole headlines on Saturday. We're doing a meet and greet at 4:00. Should be fun. 5:00, a live show. Me and the boys will be there at Hooch, Wall Street Plaza downtown. Should be fun. Come on by. Begin the party. Begin the party officially with that, and then know there's more to come, which should be a lot of fun. I know the Marching Chiefs are performing later that night too, on that Saturday right after we get done with Seminole headlines, about a couple hours later.
Oh, nice!
Yeah, the Marching Chiefs are going to perform. Yeah. At the Wall Street Plaza. So that'll be really cool. Sunday, it's the official pregame show. Tom and myself will host that noon to 2 on a stage outside of the Hooch Bar there. So that should be fun. If you're in the area, you're getting to town on that Sunday, let's say, we'll be there. And I know at 2:00, free stadium shuttle starts. So if you're hanging out and about, you need to know, like, how are we getting over to the actual stadium? There is a free shuttle. 2:30. The general parking lot's open, so if you're parking there and you want to begin your tailgate, they open at 2:30 there. 3:30, Fan Fest happens. 4:00, pregame hospitality, all those good things. Stadium gates open at 5:30. And then know this, when the game concludes and we get answers to a lot of the questions we've had all summer long building up to this game, Tom and Gene will be hosting the post-game show up until 1 a.m. live post-game show from the Hooch Bar there in the Wall Street Plaza.
Until 1 and 0 a.m. That's when we're going.
I like what you're doing there. So there you go. Basically, a lot of times we like to lay out there at warchant.com all the places that you can go and watch the game. Well, this is a national game. You can go and watch it everywhere, anywhere and everywhere, if they have a TV. So, you wouldn't need to list, hey, Motorworks Brewing. Yeah, of course, they'll have it in Bradenton, St. Pete, Tampa, wherever. They're going to have it every single place that has TVs. It's everywhere.
Way to let the people know where you go when you're down in that part of the state.
I do go by there quite often. Although we're not going to get into that.
Uh-oh.
It's changing. That is changing is all I'm saying. Some things have...
You had my interest.
It's transpired oddly. Some things happened the last time I was down there. Nothing bad to me, but I was just kind of like, what's going on here? Just saying.
No more keg stands?
No, some things just got a little shaky. Just
okay.
Just the way that things were operating were not up to snuff, Tom.
Is it also a gun store now, too?
No, it's not. It's not. It's just a bar. What are you trying to infer all these things for? It's just a bar. There's nothing else.
I'm trying to pry.
No, there's nothing.
You have my curiosity.
No, there was nothing there. It's just that it was poorly operated on the day that I was there. They just did a damn sorry job of serving, period. And I was pissed. I was like, okay, well, we're falling off a map around here, if you must know.
I would like to give you my money.
Yeah, man. I'd like to give you my money, and you're making it really difficult for me to part with my money to you. And that is really not what you do, ever. You always ask the week of the game, my gut feeling, that where am I at, my confidence level, or you ask questions like that. I have felt pretty good about this game for some time. I thought it would be a very good game. I'm not wavering from that.
Have you felt so good for so long that you're starting to get nervous about feeling so good for so long?
Yeah, you begin to question, why is it you're so confident? Or, I'm not playing the game, but why do I feel so good about Florida State's chances?
College football cold feet before the altar?
It is weird because I think the way you offset that is to dive in big time with coverage of the team you're playing, as opposed to, 'cause we're at every practice. We virtually every practice we can see for Florida State, but not for the opposing team. So you start diving in. I go to On Three's LSU side. I go to the other LSU side. I'm looking for anybody that has insight into those practices, those players, and how that's gone. And there's some people in this business who do a very good job of covering that team. There are others who don't. You learn how to discern and you vet from there. And I've said that I've said that I think it's a misnomer. There was real momentum about 3 weeks ago that seemed to suggest LSU was having a horrifically bad camp, riddled with fights and problems and interruptions. I don't think that's accurate. I think they had a couple of days where things got ugly. Denver Harris caused problems, just as he did at Texas A&M. They had to get a handle on that situation. Some things that spilled into the locker room. That's all true. But this idea that it somehow filtered in amongst each segment group and that they weren't able to get good work done is not true. I mean, they're largely healthy for the most part. I mean, there's some guys out, as there is for most teams this time of year. Luckily, Florida State made it through this camp very healthy. But they've got good players. We know that. They're not devoid of it. You don't win the West. You don't beat Alabama. You don't have the season they did if you don't have good players. And I've said on the show, no matter how unlikable, Ryan Kelly's a good coach and has been his whole career, no matter where he's been. And so I suspect they'll come in prepared. I suspect that they've kind of learned how to call a game for Jaden Daniels as opposed to what they were dealing with last year. A lot of unknowns last year. They struggled on special teams last year in that first game mightily. There are a lot of factors. Mason Smith going out right off the bat hurt them. They didn't know what Perkins was yet. They had other good players. We saw those players. Those guys made some plays. They're going to play good football. They'll play well. Can they overcome the question marks they have in the secondary to offset what I think is a strength every week Florida State plays football, and that is an offense that does not require you to change personnel based on what you want to do. If you want to run it, you can keep the same personnel out there that you have when you want to throw it. And that allows you to play tempo. And I think Florida State should play tempo. I think Florida State should play fast, and I think Florida State should keep LSU from being able to substitute defensively.
Yeah.
I would do that.
I think that's the difference here is Florida State wants more possessions. They want more plays. LSU, I think, would be wise to shrink the game as much as possible. If you're Florida State, the reason is you like your offense, of course, but specific to LSU, they're thin in the secondary. They're thinner on defensive line, the interior specifically with Mason Smith out. So if they're not as deep in those two positions, the more plays you're out there, the more exhausted they get, the worse decisions they make, mental mistakes, all of that kind of stuff. I think that stands to reason. I'm interested to see about the balance of what we do offensively. What's our first goal? What are we trying to establish first? Because you could argue that perhaps you confirm their worst fears about their secondary early by throwing the ball, and that sets up Trey Benson. You could say, no, I want to know what I have on the ground. I want to know what Perkins is as a linebacker that's not around the line of scrimmage. I want to test my new offensive line. Because if we can run the ball, then we can do anything that we want, and I want to know that as quickly as possible. It's interesting to me to think about that. You could make a good case for either priority to be your first one for Mike Norvell.
Modern football suggests that the more efficient way to play offense is to throw the football. Mike has always wanted, even going back to Memphis, to run the football. He's manufactured and engineered a running game when they didn't really have the personnel to do it. 2 years ago, he was able to do that, and we had nothing that suggested we should be able to run with any degree of success. Most coaches, if you can run, want to do so because of what the implications are. I've said this before. I keep bringing this back up. It's emasculating to get run on. That's especially true if you're an SEC team. If you take great pride, most SEC teams do, because one of the things that separates them from the rest of the country year in and year out is the depth and size of talent on the defensive line that they have an advantage over most teams outside of that league, right? Their best teams in that league have a distinct advantage when they play in these other games outside of the league at the line of scrimmage. That's where they win the game. Because as I've said many times before, lots of people have skilled talent. Lots of people have speed at receiver, running back, defensive back. A lot of that exists all around the country. The depth and size of the talent in the interior of the offensive and defensive line is something that usually the SEC has an advantage in. If you take that away and run the football and are able to illustrate early on that you're a different animal, yeah, man, I think that it is a psychologically damaging impact, yes.
The other thing is Florida State knows that even if you can't run straight at LSU, and maybe that's the case, maybe the offensive line's improved, but it's not quite that improved because this is one of the best fronts they're going to see. It's not like Mike Norvell bangs his head against a wall. He was able to run the football when we were awful and totally outgunned on the offensive line versus what the defensive line across from the football could do to us. So that's the other part. That's the game within the game on the ground. I'm sure we're going to probe to see if we can just run the ball straight up. Simpler, maybe between the tackles even, God forbid. Last year, it was counter, it's gap schemes, and then outside zone as the season went along. Well, could you actually run between the tackles? I don't know. Will they test it? But the thing is, if we come back and we test between the tackles and fail early on, it's not like that, oh, no, we can't run the ball. They just do what we've done before, which is change the nature of the fight, change where the fight takes place, and have the advantage in that spot.
Something to notice here, by the way, with all teams that seek to run between the tackles, it is almost a bygone era, Tom. Early in games, if you're facing a legitimately tough defensive line, that is to say they have guys, they have dudes, you're not a seriously outmatched opponent. You're not playing Rice. You're playing somebody who's got guys. Nobody can. Nobody can anymore. Nobody lines up and runs the ball between the tackles.
Yeah.
In a traditional I formation, double tights, you know what I was about to say, get you some. Doesn't happen.
Straight away.
Does not happen. Invariably, when you watch a game of this magnitude, again, I'm not talking about mismatches, where you can see, like TCU, Georgia, in 2 minutes, you went, oh, this is over. I texted you. I remember being so disappointed.
Yeah.
2 minutes into the game, I was like, this is over. They're screwed. It was violence. The way they handled TCU's offensive line, and conversely, the way their offensive line handled TCU's defensive line. They could do anything they wanted, and they knew it. But because they could run between the tackles, that game was over. But most teams that are equally matched if they've got dudes in the trenches, you can no longer line up and run the football in the manner that you're describing.
I agree.
Not early.
Especially in short yardage moments. But I'm talking between the 20s. Because of the formations and how wide you can spread things out, it still technically is between the tackles.
But it is trickery. It's not your standard downhill I formation, lead fullback, tailback. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. But you could be in a situation where you have 2 or 3 wide, and you got a tight end in the game, and you call it dive. The first down play that was a staple of Auburn in the national title game. It's an easy way to visualize that for everybody out there. But boom, first down. All right, we're getting on the ball, and then snap the ball. It's a dive. Can you do that much? Because we couldn't even do that last year. If it was on our own 37, or if it was on their own, their 2-yard line we can't do that at any point on the field against a defensive line like this. Can you do it now? Because this offensive line, I think, is better as a run blocking unit over last year's. I just don't know about the
I think it is too. I don't think against elite defenses you really can anymore, if they suspect it at all, have success. It's just hard to really win those matchups when you've got 315-pound dudes that you're not able to move out of there. We'll see. You do it in games against lesser teams that you can kind of dictate terms, but I think you're right. You almost have to trick your way into running the ball up the middle anymore. And that's fine. It's all legal, and you can do it. And we love to throw a lot of different plays from the same formation at you. I love that. I mean, we're able, again, because you're not going to have to change personnel, because you can keep a defense on the field, because you have guys that can run block and go out and catch the football at tight end, which we haven't had. We have not had that, because your receivers block in the run game big time, because your quarterback can utilize his legs, because you have a huge amount of depth in the offensive backfield that you can, if you wanted to, again, you can run a series where you play up tempo and you don't have to take any of those backs out. The vast majority of them can catch the ball out of the backfield and also run downhill. Now, I know we have some specialty guys, but Trey's going to want to put on film this year that he can catch the ball out of the backfield. Guaranteed. Yeah. He has to. So I think you're going to see that for Florida State be an advantage. They're going to try to keep LSU's defense without the ability to sub on the field, and we're going to keep our same personnel and play fast.
It's okay by me. When they did it in camp, they looked good. Very good at it.
I think they will. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Hurricane Idalia caused a 100-year-old oak tree to fall on the Florida governor's mansion in Tallahassee. First Lady Casey DeSantis shared in a post on X, formerly known as Twitter. Mrs. DeSantis said she and her children were in the home at the time the tree fell, but no one was injured. As Idalia moved over the Gulf Coast of Florida, the Steinhatchee River reversed course because a storm surge carrying some boats into a downstream bridge. The boats and their masts slammed into the bridge, crumbling as a powerful flow carried them under. Hurricane Idalia has tied as a Big Bend of Florida's strongest hurricane landfall on record. Idalia made landfall yesterday morning as a Category 3 with 125-mile-per-hour winds near Keaton Beach. The only other Category 3 hurricane in this region was a September 1896 hurricane, whose eye wall raked across Cedar Key with estimated 125-mile-per-hour winds. Idalia's landfall has equaled the intensity of that hurricane. This is Rachel Anae with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A mix of clouds and sun this afternoon with scattered thunderstorms likely. Daytime highs approaching 91, southeasterly winds around 5 miles per hour. Scattered thunderstorms again tonight, lows around 75, partly cloudy skies. Scattered thunderstorms likely tomorrow, highs level out around 86, more clouds and sun. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 90.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
As a truck driver, I've learned how important road safety is. I know that large trucks need more time and room to stop. That's why I always hang back and follow other vehicles at a safe distance. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. So next time you're driving, try to remember to always give trucks extra space when you merge in front of them. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Real Talk fact number 44. Banging your head against the wall for 1 hour burns 150 calories. This is Real Talk 93.3, Tallahassee's Real Talk station.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Everybody when you get penalties, but it's going to happen. The other guys are trying to, and it's a fine line, especially in the run game. So you're going to have that. Just like when you're going against a mobile quarterback, you always hear people say, we just do a terrible job against mobile quarterbacks. Well, everybody does. Everybody does a terrible job against mobile quarterbacks. So, those guys are going to break away and make some plays. And this guy is too. If he makes the first guy miss, especially if you're in man, it can be tough. You're going to see some of that. But I do feel like this team, and I'll answer Robert's question in a second or read it. Tom, I do think that this team will be a pretty disciplined bunch. I don't know how to answer the question about what it's going to be like in the ACC with officiating, given the noise.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not thinking about it for this game per se, but in the ACC, could you see something where you don't get the benefit of the doubt maybe ever? Yeah, I suspect that could be true. You have openly called out the conference and said that you hate it here, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I don't
know that you're going to – I mean, I don't want to besmirch the reputation of referees, but
looking at camp, I don't foresee a ton of major issues with penalties. Like there have been years where you say, oh, man, we're going to be guilty of, 5 pass interference a week, it feels like. And there was a game on the road at NC State not too long ago where that might have been the case. There have been, at times, procedure penalties to a level where I go, come on now, guys. It's mostly the reserves.
Yeah, it's been mostly the reserves.
Mostly the reserves.
Yeah, this has not been a penalty-laden camp.
No.
Every time I watch Greedy Vance, I think he's going to get called for pass interference. So
much of the time.
I mean, he is as handsy as they get.
But if they allow you to play big boy football in the first 5 yards, he's going to be fine, and he's going to be quite good.
He will be. But that's a big if. Robert writes, has the kicking game truly improved and become more reliable this fall camp? Asking in another way, it's early in the fourth quarter, tie game, 4th and 5 on LSU's 32. What are you doing? Go Noles. Appreciate that question, Robert, and it's a good one. They're running Fitzgerald out there to make a 47-yarder.
Well, that would be probably about a 50-yarder.
What was it, 17 yards or 15
it's
yards?
It's about 8 yards, 7 or 8 yards of breathing room they give you to hold.
Yeah, so it's 10 for the end zone. It's usually, so what?
So you'd be kicking
32,
from the 40,
42,
50.
49-yarder, 48-yarder, somewhere in there, yeah. I mean, I don't love him from 48, 49.
I think it's 2 questions. The answer to the first question, yes, it has become more reliable. Second question, personally, if the offense is on the field 4th and 5 on the 32, I'm not mad about it. It's a 50. I mean, you could say 49. It depends. Sometimes they spot it 7. Sometimes it's 8 beyond the line of scrimmage. That is a perfect number. I think Robert has hit. If it's 43, you kick all day. If it's 49, 50, I don't know.
4th and 5 is a good number too, because it's not unreasonable, but it's also far enough that it's not assumed that you're going to be able to pick that up rather easily. Yeah, it's a good one. That's tough. Raffles. Hugs to you and Kelly. Woo! And we will have a beer on you guys in Orlando. Enjoy Detroit. Happen to know them well. Yeah, and they're going to be watching from a wedding. I would be yelling, who's getting married this weekend? Sweet Jesus.
Labor Day weekend.
I hope it's old people on marriage number 4 who really just don't care. They're like, screw it.
We're holding the reception at the bar.
I mean,
it's college football.
I mean, golly, what are we doing out here?
I finally found somebody who understands me.
Goodness
it's just
gracious.
We're going to watch the games.
You can't. Probably scheduled it, figured Sunday was safe. Oh, wait, Florida State plays Sunday? That's not good. No, it's not. Got to fly to Detroit for your wedding.
I've had 3 other weddings. If you just want to buy us a beer, maybe some mozzarella sticks, that's great.
That's all it is. Although this wedding's in Detroit, I don't know why you've got them as rednecky.
Well, that's where her mother's family comes from.
Hour 2, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Hello, Leon County. Let's get ready to win with Ken. I'm Ken Preston. I want to be your next Leon County property appraiser. I'm driven, committed, experienced, and a dedicated community servant. I'm ready to put my experience as a former property appraiser to work to help make a difference for the people of Leon County. Let's go to work. Vote for me. Ken Preston for Leon County Property Appraiser 2024. Win with Ken. Paid for local advertisement by Ken Preston for Leon County Property Appraiser.
Passion for culture, passion for flavor, and passion for people. An unparalleled culinary experience awaits you at Café de Martín and El Bar. And it's not just for dinner. Spice up your weekday lunch routine with exciting specials and memorable Peruvian flavors like the arroz chaufa, stir-fried rice with green onions, snow peas, red peppers, and eggs with your choice of protein. Or enjoy a fresh, flavorful campesino salad with mixed greens, avocado, jalapenos, carrots, cherry tomatoes, and topped with our famous chicken salad served with a creamy vinaigrette dressing. And now, Café de Martín is Tallahassee's favorite new spot for brunch. Every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. with the best authentic Peruvian dishes in the city, matched with handmade artisan cocktails and our exclusive Buy 2, Save 2 Mimosa Special. Save $2 when you order 2 mimosas. The most memorable and unique culinary experience in the capital city is Café de Martín and El Bar. Open for lunch, dinner, happy hour, and brunch on Capitol Circle Northeast in the Esposito Shopping Center. Online at cafedemartin.com.
Tallahassee's newest local radio show is America in View with Matt and Brent Duster.
What this world needs is a few more rednecks.
On the front lines of the insanity of the woke, where men are actually men and rational thought prevails.
This fight has put Florida in the crosshairs of the liberal agenda. Well, I say turn off the lights and blow up the building.
Tune in every Friday from noon till 1 for America in View with Matt and Brent Duster. Right here on Real Talk 93.3.
So let's say you're considering buying a new home in the current climate. The first place I'd suggest you start is with a call to my friend Shannon at Legendary Home Loans. Shannon will set you up with a complete pre-approval underwriting. You'll shorten or even remove your financing contingency, and the sellers will know that your offer is real and ready to go. Get pre-approval underwriting from my friend Shannon with the one and only Legendary Home Loans. 844-FSU-LOAN, 844-FSU-LOAN, or just visit FSUHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 2270146.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. The latest betting odds and line movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Florida Gators at number 14 Utah meet today. Rice Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City. Last year it was Florida 29-26 over the 7th-ranked Utes. As Anthony Richardson had 274 yards, a total offense, and 3 scores. Utah, the 5-point favorite today with a total of 44. Coming up on Sunday, LSU a 2-point favorite over Florida State at Camping World Stadium in Orlando. The total 56.5. Florida State has won 9 consecutive games played in Orlando. Baseball coming up today. The Atlanta Braves, $1.35 favorite of the LA Dodgers, plus 114. Get your free VSiN subscription right now at VSIN.com. For more sports betting news and information, go to VSIN.com. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Every piece of land has a story. Some right there is behind the wheel of a John Deere 1 Series tractor, like the Upshaws.
This is my tractor Penny. It's all about attention to detail.
But the Nelsons love cruising around their expansive Montana ranch in their John Deere Gator UV.
We've been here since 1868.
While the Caggianos drive a John Deere zero-turn mower to keep their Long Island brewery looking sharp.
Don't call me, don't bother me. I'm going out to mow for a couple hours.
Run with us and start telling your story. Learn more at johndeere.com/radio.
Ask Sherwin-Williams during the Endless Summer Sale, September 1st through the 11th, and get 30% off paints and stains with prices starting at $31.14. That means 30% off our most popular color family, blue. Psychologists have found it to be soothing and relaxing, which makes it especially great for bedrooms and bathrooms. And of course, get 30% off all of our other colors. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Tax-free days are over everywhere but Fulmer's, that is. Now through Labor Day, we're going to pay the sales tax on everything you're buying at Fulmer's. And to keep it simple, Fulmer's will pay the sales tax on everything at both locations: bikes, TVs, lawn equipment, tools, watches, jewelry, laptops, and Apple products. If it's in our store, you'll buy it and pay no tax. You'll pay no tax on many items that are already marked down, some as much as 70% off. Hurry to either Fulmer's location and pay no tax through the end of the month.
Fulmer's, more than you might expect.
With 2 great locations. This is Alex from Fulmer's. We've been buying gold and silver jewelry, fine watches, and other collectibles for over 45 years. But did you know Fulmer's buys and sells gold and silver coins, bars, and bullion? Don't get scammed online or pay high shipping and handling fees. Call or stop by Fulmer's for a quick and easy quote. No matter if you're new to investing in bullion or have been collecting a lifetime, Fulmer's is your local source for buying, selling gold and silver coins and bullion. Fulmer's, more than you might expect, with 2 great locations.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab, all without a car. I'm Jimmy Fasig at Fasig Brooks. We hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777 and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. Find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
On. We'll get to it. You know, I need to ask you about Neighbors and who you think matches up against him for us and how comfortable you are in that matchup.
I don't think we shadow him. I think that we are going to play corners at boundary and field and kind of stick to it.
Yeah.
Now, if that's a problem because one of the two guys that are at boundary or field are getting destroyed, then maybe you change your plan. But I think, and for the people that might be new to the program, field just means the wider side of the field, wherever it's lined up. Left and right's not a thing. It's just more space, one guy, less space, another guy.
That's correct. I worry about him, obviously, as a kid who was, pretty prolific last year. And I say pretty prolific. He led the SEC in receptions. He's a guy that projects nicely, obviously. Had a ton of yards to boot. Now, a lot of those plays, again, are within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage, but those still count. It's like all those years we'd get mad watching that Mickey Mouse offense in New Orleans and go, everything's within 7 yards of the line of scrimmage. And then they would do it all the way down the field, and you'd go, well, damn it, man. Whole world knows what's coming and not stopping it.
And somehow they get a guy in a one-on-one, he break a tackle, and he's gone. So the
Yeah.
yards per attempt looks like 11, and it's not 11 yards per attempt.
Well, at the end of Drew Brees' career, he was lucky to be 3.
Yeah, right.
That child's arm. But, yeah.
Which is why they created air yards per attempt to get a gauge for who's the check down artist and who's not.
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting with LSU. I know Brian Kelly has said he wants to throw the ball down the field more this year. You break that out here. You attempt to do that here. They didn't do it a lot last year. Tom writes about this extensively in Third and Lang. You can read it on warchant.com. You'll get an opportunity to kind of go in to those numbers that you looked at with PFF. But just big picture, I do wonder how many shot plays they take in this game. It wasn't really a big part of their offense at all last year.
Yeah, it's not that they're devoid of taking shots down the field. It's
Right.
just that's not the nature of what Jaden Daniels was last year. And then also, do you really want to have a long developing play against this defensive front? And Brian Kelly's already talked about how they're going to have a game plan specifically to try and neutralize Jared Verse. Well, if you're going to do that and still take shots down the field, A, you're going to have to establish the run so play action works. And B, you're probably going to be in some max protect situations. Do you really want to do that? So there's a lot involved in taking shots down the field because you're breaking tendencies. You're breaking what Daniels did well. That's a really big ask to start anew with a new philosophy on going down the field against a defense like this.
Fascinating. I was reading an article. Adam Rittenberg made a comment about something the coaches said about these two teams a year ago when they matched up, that there were a lot of unknowns about both teams. And that was true, obviously, with Brian Kelly in year one. Didn't really know how that was going to look in a game one. And then for Florida State, it's easy to forget now, but the 10-3 season hadn't happened. And so it was really a matter of, can you have a winning season, Mike? We need you to get to where we start to see some dividends being paid here. And it did work out in Florida State's favor, both in this game and on the season, by getting to 10 wins and creating these expectations. The thought now going into the game is both are far more refined, very secure in what they're doing. Obviously, a ton of confidence for both teams because both went on to have great success. So does the game look different? Yeah, it was a dramatic ending. It was a weird game. You can argue Florida State controlled this game for 3.5 quarters and should have put it away easily. I think if I'm on LSU's side, I'm saying, well, if we don't just keep dropping punts inside our 10 or having special teams,
a pass in the end zone as well. Yeah.
I'm gonna look at it from a different prism. But both would say that we would expect the game quality to be better. I'm not always so sure of that. Week one games are the weirdest games. It's hard to get high quality play. It's not that it doesn't happen, but it's rather inconsistent. You don't always know because, again, neither of these teams have had a warm-up game. Neither of these teams have played a football game. And so you wonder, will you see some rust here?
First half, I think there were 10 total points last year.
Mhm.
Now you've got a missed kick, a block kick, and a drop touchdown and things like that. So, it could have been in the low 20s. But where do we expect that halftime total to be? It's got to be higher than 10, but is it in the mid-20s?
Well,
is it 17-10 at the half? I mean, how do you see that playing out? Because the second half, usually in the first game, everybody gets in a rhythm. But I wonder what your thought is on how a lot of people have it 40-30, 41-38. And if it's a rusty first half with a running clock, it still could be a rather low total against expectations.
That's why it's hard to make these predictions for week one. I think a lot of us, kind of push back on that because you realize that there's so many things that you can't really factor in. I think I know what LSU will be in week 4, week 5, and I think I know what FSU will be in week 4, week 5. But Game one, I don't always know, and I don't think anybody really does. One thing I will tell you, I think nerves will be heightened here. I think that both teams will play a little on edge early, seeking to assert dominance and physicality, because obviously both teams would recognize this as a huge matchup and an important game. Also, it's not lost on anybody that it's the national primetime game. The country's watching. Emotions will run hot early.
This is interesting to me. I think Florida State will be more nervous than LSU. If you're talking about returning players, if there are transfers, everybody's going to be nervous, and LSU's got a lot of them. Florida State's got a lot of them that have not been in this uniform yet. Like, I think that's a wash. But LSU has won the West. They've gone to the SEC championship game. Yes, they lost to Georgia, but they've been in those moments where it's all on the line. They beat Alabama with a crazy fourth quarter and an overtime. Like, they've been in higher moments than Florida State has from the moment the two teams diverged last year. There have been heightened moments, more pressure-packed moments for LSU, and they answered the call on those. So I think there's more self-security in that situation for LSU, whereas Florida State played three good teams after, didn't win any of those games. They were in squeakers down the stretch, but those were against Florida and Oklahoma. So maybe there's more nerves for Florida State to arrive at a place where LSU already has a banner of sorts. It's an SEC West crown, but they went and achieved something, and I think they've got more security in knowing that, where Florida State still has much more to prove.
Well, I'd like to think now you're getting into a little bit of the psyche and the mentality and where we're at as far as how much pressure a veteran-laden team like this will put on themselves to achieve greatness. Last year opened the door to the possibility of being all the way back and soon, changing the way you view what this season means. By winning 10 games, Florida State became on the radar for everybody that covers the sport. They re-entered the conversation of teams that matter within the top 10. We see that with the preseason rankings. Florida State is across the board in the top 10. So by definition, they matter from a perception standpoint. But how do they view the pressure on themselves? Mike has said repeatedly, we don't try to ignore the fact that we have lofty expectations and goals. And we don't mind that others have those for us as well, because nobody puts more pressure on ourselves than we do. Okay, there are teams, veteran-laden teams especially, who will take that on and they can't wait for the challenge because they believe they have an answer. Around every turn, they'll have the answer. There are others who fold under that kind of pressure, who wilt the first time they feel the weight of something like that. A lot of this stuff I tend to ignore as talking points for the press, a way to hype a game, pregame, postgame, those kinds of things, building a narrative in order to create, hours of content in between plays, before the game, during the game, and after the game. But I do think for Florida State, it will be interesting to see how they handle if they have early success in this game or if they're having a hard time getting the engine roaring. Do they feel the weight of what they've admitted are lofty expectations for themselves to have a season in which their stated goal is to play for and win a national championship? Now, I didn't pick them to win a national championship, but I certainly think they're good enough to win the conference and go to the college football playoff.
Yeah, I just, again, they have the talent, they have the self-belief. They've worked really hard in camp in a way that, you're not seeing any nerves like, oh man, the magnitude of what I'm about to go through. I
still think you would in practice.
But I'm just saying that, even though LSU didn't go to the playoff or anything last year, they've charted this territory a little bit better than Florida State has. The magnitude of what this game could mean. Last year was about establishing who you are for both programs. Even though Mike had been here several years, it still was about, all right, let's see what's possible. And LSU now knows what is possible. We're good enough to beat Alabama. We're good enough to win the West, and that by extension this year should be a run at a playoff. For Florida State, we're pretty sure. I know we're good enough, but I haven't seen it yet. You still got to prove it to yourself. So I think there might be a little bit of that.
I kind of get your argument. Your argument is that Florida State's under more pressure, at least
self-pressure. Because they have not charted the territory yet. This is going to be novel. You win this one, and that'd be great. But now you go on the road at Clemson. All the pressure's on you at that point. See, these are new experiences that they're going to have to go through this year if they continue to succeed.
Well, let's circle back to something that has been a talking point throughout the offseason. And this is where we're getting into it now, why this game is so important, but also not the be-all, end-all of an entire season. But If you win it, that is the last time that you're going to be nervous until you go to the college football playoff or maybe the ACC championship game. You're not, if you win this game with the world watching against a team that's favored to beat you and higher ranked and did win the SEC West, you have zero question marks about what your ceiling is at that point. You can't possibly wonder if whether or not you're good enough. You win this game, you are definitively good enough. There's no reason to worry. Will you want desperately to end a losing streak against Clemson at Clemson? Of course you'll want that. But you will not be questioning whether or not you're good enough.
No, you won't, but you'll be protecting something which they haven't had to do yet. Because in a way, you're protecting a college football playoff berth.
No,
you're on that trajectory at that
I disagree. You're not going to be protecting a college football playoff berth. If you beat LSU, you could lose to Clemson and still go to the college football playoff.
But you can't lose to them twice.
Well,
you know what I mean?
no,
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Well, no, the 2013 team was all about attack and kill and take your soul on top of it.
Right.
It's not good enough to just kill you. I want your soul.
Yeah. Now what we're asking is this team that team? Well, I mean that team was obviously a national champion and the one that dominated people.
Right. And I'm not trying to compare this team to that team yet. What I'm saying is 13 and 14 had different feels, and it wasn't just complacency. One, you were attacking a goal. The other, you were trying to protect something. That changes the way that. You know, the
I can't fathom
that
they wouldn't be the attacking team every game this year because they haven't won anything, as you just pointed out. They have not won a thing. They should be starved. I mean, they haven't won anything. I don't think beating LSU suddenly makes you get defensive. I think you're like, yep, that's what we thought we would do. Let's go bust that ass. That's the way you should be thinking. Like, you're next. Who's next? How do we exploit this? Embarrass you guys, get off the field, get some other guys. There's a lot of guys that they've got to satiate. This is a roster where a lot of guys want to play and are good and think that they are good enough to play. And the only way they get out there is if you're taking care of business. In the vast majority of these games, you're going to be favored in. This is one you're not. And we'll see if you are against Clemson. Likely not, as long as they don't slip up or look terrible.
Right. If they look clunky and you win this game by multiple scores, it could be a pick 'em at kickoff.
Could be. Right. But yeah, man, most of the games you're going to be heavily favored, and I think they'll attack those games with no nerves whatsoever. I think maybe the next time you'd be nervous is if, and these are big ifs, if Florida turns out to be a lot better than anybody thinks they are, you play them on the road at the end of the year, you would have something to lose if at that point you were 10-1.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, I think it's a one-loss scenario. See, I was thinking of one loss in the ACC championship game. If you got one loss and you're playing for the ACC title, you could not be going to the playoff after tonight. And at that point, again, you've got something that you're protecting. That's where the challenge changes. And that's another thing, regardless of this Sunday's outcome, that they're going to have to get used to. The Florida State bullseye is back on your chest.
Oh, it's a good thing, though, man. It's the embracing that hate and embracing the frustration people feel. I mean, these are all things that you check mark along the way towards being, once again, an elite program. I mean, this is just standard operating procedure for Clemson and for Alabama and for schools that have had great success over a sustained period of time. And certainly it was for us for the better part of 3 decades. That's what you're clamoring for. You want that. That's fun, actually, once you've embraced that and you've had some success. But it's an aspect of the game to watch closely and see where we're at. If things are tough sledding early, do they fall under the weight of whatever self-imposed pressures they have? Or is it just sort of okay, we're fine. We're fine.
Well, that's the old adage about the burden of success. I hope we get to see what this team is made of when a little success comes their way. How do they respond to all the success they're having?
It's a much better conversation. Here's a conversation we got to solve for the future. You were going to say something?
Oh, I was just pointing with emphasis. I was like, yes, we do.
Yes, we do. We have to praise Zaxby's. We have to let the fine folks at home know.
How many locations?
134.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, 134 locations.
They must have had 3 closed because of maybe some storm damage.
134 locations in Tallahassee. It's kind of known as a fixture in Tallahassee. People come and they go, the rolling hills are beautiful, so different. The topography of Florida suggested that we would see something different. But now I realize you guys really are set apart from, say, the strip malls of Central Florida. And what you have here is rolling hills, green land, lots of trees. And my God, a Zaxby's on every corner. This is insane.
I enjoy going to one of the 134 Zaxby's for the food, the next one to sit down to eat the food, the next one to use the bathroom after I'm done eating the food, and then the next one to throw the bags of food away.
Well, you pick up some more on your way home.
That's the fifth one.
That's the fifth. Oh, that's the fifth one. 5 of 134 proud Golden Chief boosters for over 18 years. So when you support Zaxby's, you help them support Florida State. Plus, the food is damn delicious. We'll solve for the future. W's and L's next with our friends and partners at ISF. Stay tuned. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Want a Zaxby's Big Zax snack meal for free? With free fingers, free fries, free Zax
Hey guys,
sauce?
our next partner is AG1, the daily foundational nutritional supplement that supports whole body health. I drink it quite literally every single day. I began using AG1 because I'll be honest with you, I don't like to take a bunch of pills and vitamins, and I just wanted something that tastes great, was quick, and easy to remember. So I do it. I do it every morning when I wake up. I certainly have it right after my coffee and before I work out. And I will tell you this, too. It is a simple, effective investment for your health. You can try AG1 and get 5 free AG1 travel packs and a free 1-year supply of vitamin D with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/JCS. Again, that's all you got to do is go to drinkag1.com/JCS. That's drinkag1.com/JCS. Check it out. It's delicious. It's quick. It's easy. It's proven. Vitamins, probiotics, whole food source nutrients. Start your day with it. You'll feel better. I promise.
That's the MedicareHelpDesk.com.
Attention radio listeners, this is a Foodies Takeout and Delivery new restaurant alert. Now available for takeout and delivery from foodiestakeout.com. The Hawthorne Bistro, Jerry's Love on a Plate, Coach's Pizza, Munchie's Pizza, Red Eye Coffee, Lofty Pursuits, OG Subs, Dave's Pizza Garage, Sakura Sushi, and many more. Find a complete list of locally owned restaurants offering takeout and delivery at foodiestakeout.com. That's foodiestakeout.com. Don't just shop local, order local.
Here's a tip to keep it cool from E&B Heating and Air. Your outdoor unit works better if it's clean and clear of debris. Plants, grass, weeds, and trees can reduce performance, raising your power bill. Visit ENBHeatandAir.com to get a free quote today.
I'm not exaggerating when I say this, but QC Kinetics can change your life. You can live again without that chronic joint pain and without drugs or surgery. Hey, it's Greg Tish, and I want to tell you about QC Kinetics and the advanced regenerative medicine. They take your body's own concentrated healing properties and put them right into your joint to restore and repair that damaged tissue that's causing all of that horrible pain. The patient satisfaction reports are astonishing. Finally, a real alternative to the old ways of dealing with pain. And unlike surgery, there's no downtime with QC treatments. If you have constant pain in your knees, your hips, shoulder, or back, you need to call QC Kinetics for a free consultation from the medical professionals there. Imagine this fall, moving around pain-free, doing the things that you absolutely love again, pain-free. Call QC Kinetics and see how the latest advances in precision regenerative medicine can attack your pain and bring long-lasting relief. Call them today, 850-391-4280, 850-391-4280, 850-391-4280.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
just a little anxious. You get to this point, hell, the coaches sound anxious. I thought Brian Kelly was anxious in a good way. You know, he wants to see his team play. He wants to see how they respond. I think everybody at this point does. If you're Mike Norvell, you feel like you've prepared them as well as you could prepare anybody for a game. They, generally speaking, we don't really complain about game plans from Mike and Alex. They do a good job. So I'm not so concerned about game plans. You're ready to see your teams play under the bright lights with a lot of pressure and how they respond. I think he thinks his team is as mentally tough as he's probably had in years and years and years. So it was the one at Memphis that he cites a lot that he loved, their mental toughness, and that they always kept playing. There's some shootouts. Remember those crazy games that they had at Memphis? Some of those teams had to come back from big deficits, so he admired them for that toughness. Is this team that team? Do they have that same sort of thing? If they get down, how do they handle it? How do they respond? Are they capable of just going out and executing under this intense scrutiny and playing really well and taking care of business and never really making this a close game? Finding a way to run away and hide from somebody who is of status, who has the kinds of players to do something about it. What for to them?
Said it last night when we were doing the interactive hour on YouTube, which was a fun show. It'll be Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock on Warchant TV. It's an exclusive to the Warchant TV side, no radio. But as we get closer, I am nervous for the players. When we were good in 2013 and going on the road to Clemson and we were about to lay the wood in an unholy way, and that was amazing. I wanted that for lost Acadians like myself. I really did. I didn't want it for the players. I didn't want it for you.
You wanted it selfishly.
I didn't want it for anybody over the age of my age at that point that went through the lost decade. I wanted it for us. And to a degree, I wanted it for kids that maybe graduated in the fall of 22. Maybe I want this year for them. I want them to see what I saw and to feel that discovery of what Florida State football can be about in a way that we got to in 2013. But this time around, I want it for the players. These guys have worked very hard every single camp. They've gotten better. This is the crescendo. I hope it pays off for them. They've done all the right things. Hopefully it does.
Our friends at ISF sponsor this segment every Thursday. We thank them. We love to collaborate with them. If you don't know about them, they're an IT strategy firm. They've been in business for over 40 years. They've served state government and business clients across the nation from right here in Tallahassee. They are experts in government processes. They've worked with government agencies across the country. They have unmatched expertise in developing strategies, evaluating and refining process, and implementing technology solutions to these situations that we've described in the past. But also, they got a big heart, and they love serving the community. And coming up after this week, we turn our attention to a home game, and we'll be able to talk to you more about something that they're going to do while partnering with Second Harvest. We're excited about that as well, because this is a tailgate for folks that aren't doing as well as some of us, right, who have struggled perhaps for whatever reason and could use the help. And you guys have been incredibly kind over the years. Anytime we've kind of shined a light, used the medium to shine a light on an area that's a problem. Obviously, we do the bowling tournament every year, and we were able to reap great benefits for the kids of the Guardian Ad Litem so that they can have a Christmas. We've done a lot of things over the years where we've asked for your help. ISF and the Second Harvest are going to be doing that this year, and we'll shine a light on that because it is a really worthy cause, and it's a simple thing to do. We're all going to the games. We're all tailgating. We're going to tell you where that tailgate spot is and what you can drop off to help those in need.
And, brother, it takes on a completely more significant meaning now.
It does.
Because it is the Second Harvest of the Big Bend. They serve the entirety of the Big Bend.
That is correct.
And the Big Bend is hurting right now. So.
Yeah. So it'll be fun. So just be mindful of that as we go through it. I'm looking forward to that. We'll get into specific details more in depth next week when we have this segment, and that way you guys know where to go and where to drop it off. And even those of you who aren't able to attend maybe a game but want to do something from afar, we'll have options for you there to help out with that tailgate as well. All right, buddy, it's time to cue it up. This is where we do this. The last W's and L's of the offseason oddly make me nervous. It's easy to do a W and L's in May, and we do. And in March, and we do. We do it like a month after the regular season ends.
But we took a huge break in the summer. Usually there's a check-in and a chin check in the summer, and there was not this year.
No. I don't know why, really, other than to say I think we know our W's and L's revolve around two games. Let's just be honest. We felt like the floor had been raised to a place where the difference between what I would predict and what you would predict at worst is a singular game, right? We kind of felt like we had changed going into last year. I think you said 10 wins. I said 9. I think it was what it was, right? So I thought 9-3. You thought 10-2, and it worked out that way for you, and that's awesome.
It wasn't a perfect match, though. I mean,
no, well,
it never is.
We get those wrong sometimes, but yeah, it turned out nicely. You got to 10 wins. They still had 3 losses, so it was what it was. But yeah, I mean, so for Florida State, things have changed. Things have changed for the positive. There's no getting around that. I can tell you this before we start the W's and L's and the sounder. Tom, short of Florida State losing handily, like decisively, short of Florida State getting blown out, I will still tell you that I think Florida State's this would not be stubbornness, just this would be quality of personnel, where I think the program's at, the overall wellness of this program, and where they're ascending to. They could lose this game, and I'd still come on here and tell you that I think they're going to have a great year. They could win this game going away. They could drub LSU, and I would still tell you that it's going to be a tall task to beat Clemson on the road to be able to shake this albatross and these losses, this frustration we feel having surrendered the conference over to Wuhan Dabo. So, these things are still going to be in place regardless if we win or lose. Yes, they inform the discussion, and what a vibrant discussion it will be on this upcoming Monday. But as well as I do, this is a good football team. It's a different kind of W's and L's. This is a good football team. Cue it up. W's. Wins.
All right. How you doing?
Losses.
Damn it! We lost. We fucking super lost, man.
Where do we triumph? Where doth thou fall? It was fun to listen to, wasn't it? Just kind of fun to listen to.
I just wish that organ would continue playing,
All right, here we go. Let's have fun with it. Let's go. First one out the gates, 7:30 p.m. ABC. Ooh, there it is. With a lot riding on it, and Florida State as a slight underdog, we make our way over to Central Florida. No, it ain't a beautiful stadium, but it'll be a beautiful night, as Florida State's offense is too much. And while I think we have some hiccups on defense and the game stays close well into the second half, Florida State pulls away late with an unwavering passing attack and a big night for Jordan Travis. Florida State 41, LSU 24. Win! Game number 1.
Win! 1-0. I said last night, I was kind of tongue-in-cheek, but I'm going to lean into it. 3 interceptions for Florida State. One of them will be a game sealer, desperation heave, if you will, but 2 in the throes of this game. It paves the way for short fields. It paves the way for comfort. It paves the way.
Are you calling for a rocking chair?
No, not quite.
Okay.
Not quite. But how about 38-24, Florida State?
I went 41-24. We're very similar picks.
No 40 burger just yet.
I go 40 burger here. Big night in the air for Jordan Travis. Following week, they come back home 6 days later on the mighty ACC network. As folks flock to see just how cheap is that light that you can buy that lights up the entire neighborhood.
That's right. I think it's an 11:45 p.m. kick on the ACC network.
It's an 8:30 p.m. kick on the ACC network as scheduled. And we'll be doing the pregame show from Hotel Indigo, in which most of the conversation will center around last week's win over LSU. Florida State wins easily, if not a little sloppily, over Southern Miss. Win!
Yeah, I agree. I think it's not the satisfying besmirching of Southern Miss that maybe some people will want for a home opener. Sloppy, clock in, clock out, maybe a little bit of Brock Glenn before the day's out.
Oh, hey, early in the year.
It's hard to pick a score on this one, but we're happy. We're going home happy 2-0.
It's a win. Take it on the road to Boston College. A little sleepy nooner on ABC. Nothing better than the sleepy nooner on the road at BC. A game we have traveled to more than once. A city I adore. A time that is awfully fun. And for me, a respite this year as I'm not taking it up to Boston. I'll be playing golf with Tom.
News to me, but we'll take it.
The honesty around here, huh? No, we'll watch the game and then we'll go play golf.
We're kind of happy when they go on the road at times.
Oh, it's a respite, man. It's nice. Florida State's off to a rollicking start, 3-0. Another easy win for Florida State to move to 3-0.
What the hell, guys? Why is this 7-7 to start the second quarter? It's okay, everybody. It's going to be 31-13 when it's over. Is it a score fest? No. Good win. 31-13, 3-0.
Now we get to the tough one.
Wuhan.
Dabo's been forced to make changes I'm sure he never thought he'd be forced to make. Fancied himself a god and a scientist at one time. But that said, they did go out and hire an offensive coordinator, a real one, to help what has been a stagnant offense. And I think it pays dividends. Florida State's in a nail-biter on the road against Clemson that comes down to a Fitzgerald kick. Ooh. I made you nervous.
Distance?
46. Fitzgerald takes the field, and Tom nearly has a heart attack for the win to get over the hump. Florida State.
That would put me at a baker's dozen.
Florida State falls on the road to Clemson in very close fashion, 34-31. Loss.
You want satisfaction? I'll give you satisfaction. Win!
Big one.
37 for the Noles. I don't know how they get to 37. That's a weird number, but it just feels right. Maybe a safety's mixed in there. Klubnik is not ready for prime time. They are asking questions at Clemson, saying, were we just lucky to get Deshaun and Trevor back-to-back? What is this? 37-20. Florida State.
Oh!
We know we're winning.
And a rout.
In the fourth quarter. We know we're winning.
And a rout.
We are sighing in the fourth quarter going,
that sums it up for Tom Lang. He's got us 12-0. It's over.
Do I?
I think so. Virginia Tech comes to town. Unfortunate for them. Ass-kicking Central. Noles with a win.
For everybody. That's unfortunate. But the game will start, it will end, and we will win.
Syracuse does the same, and in a snoozer, Florida State by 30. Win.
I like the whispering win.
Run-of-the-mill ass-kicking is going to be delivered on a weekly basis this portion of the schedule.
Agree. We move forward.
Yeah, another win, another chance at an undefeated season here for T. Lizzie. After that, it's Duke, who's a little bit more game than you would suspect, but not enough. The game's in Tallahassee. Florida State, unlike Miami, has never lost to Duke. That remains intact. Florida State does not see Duke as a rival. Instead, there have been double Platinum Bohicas. We keep it rolling. Florida State wins over Duke. Win.
Yeah, another what the hell at halftime. This is a little too close, guys. Pull away, no big deal. I'm glad we're undefeated right now, or else these 3 games we just watched would not be very crowded at Duke. Good job, Knowles. Undefeated through 7.
On the road at Wake Forest, and Snuggy Hill is taken over. Revenge on the mind of all. And Florida State goes in, dominates Wake Forest, sends a message, runs it up late, throws the ball, puts it in the air, despite being up 3 scores. It's an ass-kicking of Wake Forest. Back into your hole. Florida State wins big. Whee.
Let's munch on that 40 burger together.
There we go.
49-21. This is a good night on the Hill. Maybe we'll all be enjoying the Hill. We'll see.
I like it.
We'll see.
Now we go on the road at Pitt, which is the only other game Tom might look at it and say, I'm not so sure.
Is it?
Narduzzi's done a great job at Pitt. They're the second winningest team since 2019 in the ACC, and they captured a conference title in that time. They've been that kind of good. Put some guys into the league. They typically can run the ball. They play good, solid defense. They're tough. Florida State wins the game. Just too much talent in the end. It's a fun night in Pittsburgh. Great city in November. A little chill in the air. Florida State takes care of business. 2-score game, but it's like a 14-point, 12-point type game. It's a good game. Florida State wins it.
This may be the one. I don't understand why the ball is always on the freaking ground today. Soupy and Pitt. It can be that way. Slippery track.
Yeah.
Pitt holds on to the ball for 37 minutes in this football game.
Whoa.
27-25. Pitt.
Oh,
my God.
You had to sprinkle a loss in.
What the hell happened,
We've
guys?
been derailed.
Damn you, Narduzzi.
We've been derailed. The Fighting Narduzzi's take out Florida State. Son of a.
That hurt.
Got to buck up, soldier. Miami comes to town the following week. Now, luckily for us, as is the case most years, Miami has gone ahead and packed it on in by the time we get to this spot in November. Another season proving that they're not back leads to more frustration, perhaps some spray paint on the side of the stadium. Just don't know. We'll take Florida State to win big over Miami again. Ownership is returned to Tallahassee. Win.
You know the worst thing that happened to Miami? Last week's game at Pitt. That's the worst thing that happened to Miami.
Man.
This is a furious bunch of Seminoles
Locked in.
that take the field. This is a pissed-off fan base. They know that, all right, the get-out-of-jail-free card has been spent.
Got to win out.
Let's get right here against the Miami opponent that's done well on offense to this point in the season. Dangerous enough offense that we're talking about it, but we're laughing in the second half. We put the Canes down. That's right. I'm talking euthanasia. Florida State big.
Can't do it any worse than 45-3 last year, Tom. I mean, my goodness gracious. North Alabama comes to town, unfortunately for North Alabama. That is a win for Florida State. The great season continues. Oh, what could have been? Some folks, if it falls the way Tom Lang thinks, looking back at that Pitt game, me going all the way back to September thinking about the Clemson game on the road, but revenge still on the mind as it becomes a little bit more crystallized now. We're close. Easy win for both of us over North Alabama, I'm assuming.
You can taste this one now. Send them off on a good note. It's an emotional farewell for so many Noles on Bobby Bowden Field. Go get it done after Thanksgiving, guys.
On the road against the University of Florida, which has a slightly better year than most of our fan base thought that they would have. Presents an interesting challenge with so much on the line. Florida State in the end, though, will once again vanquish their rivals. Do so because of the superior quarterback in this game. Florida State goes on the road, gets the win, only by 10. Only by 10. It's a close football game into the fourth quarter. We're a little nervous. We're a little frustrated, but we get the win. And what a campaign. With that win, Florida State finishes the regular season 11-1. A robust 11-1 with one road loss.
Yes, they do. With one road loss, different places, but 11-1 it shall be. That's a lot more wins than losses after a massacre in Gainesville. You know, Florida's been able to run the football this year, and that's been the notable thing for their offense. Florida State stops the run in this game,
yes,
and
they do.
It's on Mertz. Oh, dear God. Not good news for the Gators. They only scored 10 points.
There it is. 11-1, says me. 11-1, says Tom. And then we'll revisit a rematch with Clemson in the ACC championship game, and we'll pick that game when the time comes. But for now, 11-1 it is for both of us. That'll work. I like it. It's beautiful. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Hurricane Idalia brought rain, wind, and destruction to the Big Bend in South Georgia. From split trees to mangled metal to crushed cars, the storm left its mark. The Franklin County Sheriff's Office is organizing a relief effort to help the neighboring counties that Hurricane Idalia has impacted. The relief effort and all donations will go directly to helping Hurricane Idalia victims in Madison County, Dixie County, Taylor County, and others, according to FCSO. The FCSO will place trailers outside the following locations to collect donations at Ace Hardware on Avenue A in Carabel and Taylor's Building Supply off of US 98 in East Point. Donators can drop off items like water, batteries, toiletries such as toilet paper and wipes, diapers for children, cleaning supplies, and pet food. They are asking that no one brings food or clothing. FCSO will also be accepting monetary donations through the FCSO Charity Fund at franklinsheriff.com/charity fund. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A blend of clouds and sun this afternoon with scattered thunderstorms likely. High temperatures reach up to 91, southeast winds around 5 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight, scattered thunderstorms likely, lows around 75. Scattered thunderstorms again tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 86, more clouds and sun. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 90.
This is Kyle, service manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry books to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
I'll never forget
that moment.
As long as I live.
As long as I live.
My first call up ever as a member of the National Guard.
When we got to the armory, they briefed us on the wildfires. They were getting dangerously close to homes.
Helicopters were going out to drop water on the fires. Guys in the unit were preparing for firefighting with local fire crews.
At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Florida National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
This is Brian Kilmeade, and I'm excited to be on the air in the capital city. Be sure to tune into my show. I'll be giving you all the latest news, information, and the truth you demand. The Brian Kilmeade Show is live from 9 till noon, right here on Real Talk 93.3.
If Real Talk was a paycheck, you'd be getting a huge raise. More Real Talk right now on 93.3. The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Them up. Redemption Thursday wagers are in. Check them out for you. Matthew will put them up on screen right now. Thanks to our friends at the Metro Deli. I don't see why not. I've got the Canes winning tonight, 16.5. I'm giving, or is that tomorrow? Whatever. I've got Hawaii +3 against Stanford. I got TCU -20.5 against Colorado. FSU on the way. There it is. There's the return. Well done. FSU on the money line over LSU. Yeah. Colorado State +11 against Washington State. Like that game. Yep. There we go. Coastal Carolina +14.5 against UCLA. I was waiting.
Well, not that one. Because that's UCLA.
All right. San Jose State +16.5 against Oregon State. North Texas +6.5 against Cal. We're back, baby. It's time to wager. Texas -30.5 or 35. What the hell? I'm not even looking. Let's get it together, Cameron. Look at your game.
It's a weird font, though. The 3 is really strange looking in this font.
35 against Rice and Washington -14 against Boise State.
The stem of the 3 is as skinny as the late Bob Barker's microphone.
There it is. Right. By the way, J-Bo asked me, what about the UF game, Jeff? It's been a weird game all week for me. I have not messed with it. You know, once we got the semi-late word that Cam Rising wasn't going to play, I got a little concerned. Then Florida was missing some guys, and I just thought this is a weird week 1 game. I like Utah. If I had to bet it, I would pick Utah. But I am not betting the game tonight. Not betting the game.
Did you handle the picks in the pool that we're in?
Yeah, I did.
I have not done that yet.
Well, I did it bright and early this morning.
You were ready to go.
5:53 a.m. I was sipping on a cup of Joe making picks this morning, Tom. That's what I was doing. Just
What will you be sipping on at 5:53 in the evening today? This the day of college football.
I can't. I'm going to a high school football game. I cannot.
I ask again. What will you be sipping on at 5:53 this afternoon at a high school football game in the stands?
Gatorade, Powerade, water.
I ask again. Come on now.
What am I sipping on? What are you doing?
Bring a little flasky flask.
Oh, no. I'm not going to my son's football game drinking. No, I'm not doing that. I will be home in time to catch the game, and
there'll be a man of fine tastes 3 rows in front of you that says, "Is that Lagavulin 16 I smell?"
Which would be amazing, and I would say, well, shh. No, I'm not going. No, I'm locked in at my son's game.
It is, though. It's delightful.
It's as you think, sir.
Big third down. Come on, big third down.
Got to make this play. Make a catch, son. No. I just I'll be all here. Hey, listen, we got travel arrangements and things tonight and all that good stuff. You got tonight. Wake up, Warchant at 6:30.
Correct.
And then I know you're leaving. Are you leaving in the morning? When are you leaving?
First thing in the morning. I'm not missing the football tonight. I'm not going to drive during the football. Yes, I need to be at Hooch by the time it opens so I can run some cables and so forth before the 1 o'clock show.
Ryan knows me. It makes it's unsettling the way he knows me. Jeff yelling, catch the GD ball in the stands. I think it, Ryan. I think it. I've matured enough not to yell it. Bryce had a drop in week 1. He did. It was a good play by the defender, but it was a catchable ball.
And how did you handle this?
I whispered under my breath to my wife, catch the GD ball. And she was like, she slapped my arm.
Was it the Cameron gritting of the teeth as you speak? You get that from your dad.
I do. I just went catch. I just went catch the ball. And then
hey.
But you know what? I didn't bring it up to him. He brought it up to me after the game.
A couple of notes. Your dad is here. We're one Friday in between us now. One Friday in between us before we have a Guinness at the CP next Friday, as per tradition. And a shout out to our good friend Bill from the Corner Pocket, who had successful surgery today, and he's
damn
back home
right.
And he's feeling well.
Good job, Bill. Good job. There you go. That's what I like to hear. Bill's looking sharp lately. He lost some weight. Look lean. Look good.
Got a text from him not 25 minutes ago saying he's home and he's okay.
That's good to hear. Glad to hear it. All right, so we got to do probables still, right? Did I forget anything else? I mean, we've told everybody what we're doing over in Orlando.
I don't think so. Reset the picks.
50% off right now at membership. What are we doing? Let's go.
Look at you.
Well, no, this is crazy. What a good
Promo
deal.
Pete, good job.
Kickoff sale, 50% off a new annual subscription. Let's go, man. This is unbelievable. 50% off again, kickoff sale. Get in now. What a year this is going to be.
It's a good time to do it, too.
It is.
You grab it with this limited time offer, but then you can go right to Garnet and Gold and start saving money. You know, before you enjoy
bucks.
One sentence of brilliance when it comes to the written content on the site or the largest FSU fan community, you can get your money right back. You get your new gear for the year.
Just like that.
New jerseys,
man. A lot
man.
of really kick-ass gear, too. Yep. I've got some beautiful shirts to be breaking out.
New jerseys and new throwback material.
Going to be good stuff. Going to be good. 50% off, kickoff sale, new annual subscription. All right, Power Mill sponsors Probables. Here are Probables. Cue it up.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
PowerMillSports.com. Check them out. Making sure your kids have the fundamentals in place to go out and have a good baseball or softball season. Yankees trail the Detroit Tigers in the 7th inning currently 3-0. Tragic. Clark Schmidt started that game, and so did Matt Manning. Marlins Nationals. By the way, we swept the Royals, did the Pirates. We're now a meager 9 games under 500. I mean, Pirates aren't fooling around.
We're battling for a draft pick, you and me. You see DJ Stewart last night? 2 more home runs. He's got 9. 2 more home runs.
Action, yeah.
A catch against the wall to spare the winning run from scoring. And then he gets hit with the bases loaded to walk it off.
Look at my man. Been in the league longer than I thought he'd be in the league. That's good. Good. Marlins Nationals, Braxton Garrett and Joan Adone. Aiden. Giants, Padres, TBD, Pedro Avila. I like it. Braves, Dodgers. Ooh, good game tonight. Braves, Dodgers, late night if you're watching the West. Yeah, up. Got a little something here. Spencer Strider, Lance Lynn. That's a look at those that shall reside on the bump. You know, I go to bed early these days, and I'm still kind of getting this coming around the bend here to try to stay up a little bit later with these late night games.
It's a transition.
I've got a night to really kind of settle in and say, let's do this. I mean, Braves Dodgers is a fun baseball game to have on like your iPad over here.
iPad.
Yeah. And then I got the massive television ready to roll. Got the massive television ready to roll with the football. So then we're good there. I don't know. Maybe have the other one on the back.
I have the anxiety of this time tomorrow I will have packed and have driven and have done a whole lot of things, for us to sign off and give way to the weekend programming. But there's a lot that needs to get done tonight. So, yeah, anxiety.
Tomorrow we're going to introduce a new friend of the program, Artisan Financial Strategies, and our mutual friend and really everybody's favorite Twitter follow, Adam Tolliver. So this will be good. It's going to be a good time. We're going to welcome him to the Jeff Cameron Show, and we got a lot of things happening, man. A lot of people that are supporters and investors and guys we're trying to benefit. It's going to be good times. Good times. Don't forget to go to thebattlesin.com and sign up.
Oh, well, there we go. It's a smart mention.
Good work out of you, sir. Good work, Director Matthew. Yes, a Libations Friday show will happen tomorrow. We will be live same time at 1:00 and look forward to talking to you guys. So be ready to roll tomorrow on a Libations Friday. Enjoy the football tonight.
I will warm up the hooch for you.
Let's go. Peace.